Good day. I am Michael Current, and I will be hiking the Pacific Crest Trail in 2020. A little bit about myself. I am retired military. I served in the U.S. Army for over 30 years, retiring in 2016. Following retirement, through a series of events, my wife and I wound up opening 2 small businesses, one in partnership with our son, but we tried to stay focused in on doing those personal goals that we had to defer during my years of the military, one of which was hiking the Pacific Crest Trail for me. Before I get into that, just a little bit more about myself. Like I said, I am married. I married my high school sweetheart. We've been married for 34 years and been a couple for 42 years. We have 2 children. Both our children served in the military, 3 combat tours between the 2 of them. Both of them graduated college. My son now runs his own business in partnership with us, and our daughter works for the U.S. Marshal Service. So why hike the Pacific Crest Trail? Well, the PCT has been on my bucket list since the early 1980s when I was an undergraduate at the University of Nevada, Reno. A buddy of mine and I, we were hiking up in Desolation Wilderness. We came across the trail. I read some articles on it and read some articles on thru-hikers and just absolutely fell in love. I knew someday I would hike the trail. I've done 2 section hikes on the trail, but this will be my first thru-hike of the PCT. Now, why would I want to vlog my experience? 2 reasons, really. The first one goes back to a video that Darwin, from Darwin on the Trail, put out when he said, do something creative during your thru-hike. To be honest with you, I am not a creative person, but I thought that was good advice. And the second reason was that during one of those section hikes, I did that with my son when he was 11 years old. And it was just an absolutely incredible experience. But I didn't take that many photographs, and I regret that now. So I'm thinking if I vlog, if I video the experience, and I'm going to be able to look back on those videos sometime in the future when I'm older, and my family can share in that experience as well as I'm going through it. So why share those videos with anyone? When I was doing my research on the Pacific Crest Trail, I discovered that videos happen to be the most widely used medium for others researching the trail. It's just the day and age that we're in. The other thing I discovered was there are a number of older thru-hikers like myself. I am 57 years old that are out there and they've been hiking all their life, or they're just getting into it, and some of them are doing thru-hikes and some of them are just crushing it. But that age demographic wasn't well represented in the vlogging community. So I thought I would be able to contribute and bring that out to the table. You probably noticed on the trek, and if you subscribe to it, my Facebook page and my Instagram account, I'm going by, for the vlogging, I am going by Old Man and the PCT, or Old Man and the PCT 2020. And you might ask, why Old Man? I certainly know that I am not going to be the oldest person on the trail this year. Somebody far better than me and older will have that distinction and honor. But at 57 years old, I am certainly on the far right side of the age demographic bell curve for thru-hikers. And so I borrowed the term Old Man in the PCT from Ernest Hemingway's book, Old Man and the Sea. And if you've read that book, you know the protagonist of the story, Santiago. He is a fisherman, and the villagers think he is just a little beyond his age for fishing. But he goes out daily and he battles the sea, like I would be battling the PCT. And at the end of the story, he brings home the big fish, and that's what, you know, symbolically I'm hoping to do at the end of my journey. So I borrowed the title from the book Old Man and the Sea. It's Old Man and the PCT 2020. So I have about 20 family members that I am close to and maintain daily contact or at least weekly contact with, that are close to me, and probably about 100 friends, most of them retired or still active military. And so out of that base of 120 people, I'm figuring I'm going to have a video viewership of about 10. Is what I'm looking at. So if you're not one of those individuals out of that base, and you've stumbled across my videos, if it's all right, I wanted to set up a couple ground rules to help manage expectations as we go through this. The first ground rule is this will not be a daily vlog. My priority first and foremost is to completing the trek, completing the hike. I'm going to enjoy doing the videos. I'm looking forward to that. But my priority has to be on actually hiking the hike. And to be honest with you, I think if I tried to put out a daily blog or a daily vlog, I just wouldn't be that interesting, and it wouldn't be worth your time. So I would rather put together a quality product on a probably weekly basis, and I think that would have enough interest in it that you would consider it worthwhile to view. The second ground rule is I am not the best photographer. I took photography in a couple courses as an undergraduate. I am practicing to get better at taking videos, but I know I am not the best photographer out there. I don't have that kind of experience. So if you're the individual that's looking for the ultimate PCT scenic porn that's out there, my videos are probably not for you. Based on my military experience, I imagine that I'll be focusing on the planning, the operations, the logistics, my experiences on the trail as I'm going through that. I think that's what I'll be able to focus in on, and hopefully that's enjoyable to you as a viewer. This is what I'm going to be doing, and we're going to be learning together, but at no time, specified or implied, when I say something I'm doing, should it be interpreted that I think somebody else should be doing the same thing. This is what I think is going to work for me, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But it's not an instructional video. This is just my experience. If you take something away from it, great. If there's a lesson that I've learned throughout it, or I do something you like, then that's wonderful. And if there's something I do that you don't care for, I mean, after 30 years in the military, I've got making mistakes down to a science. So maybe that's what you'll take away from the videos is, hey, I don't want to do that. But hopefully I make that, either way, make it enjoyable to watch. Lastly, as far as ground rules, is I am not going to do any prep videos. You've seen other vloggers, I'm sure. They do the intro video, they do a resupply video, maybe a gear video, strategy, training video, that sort of thing. So you're 4, 5, 6 videos in before they're actually on the trail. And all too often I've seen other vloggers do that, and 100 miles into their 2,600 mile journey, they're done, leaving the viewer kind of wondering. So I'm not going to do that. My next video is going to be me on the trail. I will incorporate those items into my videos, but I'm going to start off with me on the trail. And at the end of my journey, if I have built up some credibility, to speak with some authority, and there is interest in it, then I'll go back and do a specific, this is my equipment, this is my resupply, and go through that in detail. But I'm not going to start off that way. Suffice it to say at this juncture that I did put a lot of thought into hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. I did put a lot in my equipment, my resupply, and my training. And I'll talk about that briefly right now, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. As far as the equipment, I researched all the items. I had good backpacking equipment, but it was 20 years old. It was light for its time, but compared to what's out today, it's no longer qualifies for that, and it's a great excuse to go buy new equipment. So that's what I did, and I did all the research that I needed to do, and I bought what I think works for me, and then I moved on. And I'm not going to be, you know, still searching for the ultimate puffy and that sort of thing. I'm not one of those gear people. Gear persons. I don't want to use one of the other colloquialisms because they have a negative connotation to them, but that's just not me. I went and worked hard on the research, picked the best equipment, and for me, and we'll see if it works. And I'll talk about that as we go through our videos. For resupply, I went into getting ready for the Pacific Crest Trail with the notion that I wasn't going to do any resupply boxes. I was just going to wing it as I go along. I thought that was the best strategy. But then I started to do my research, and I started to really analyze myself, my nutritional goals, what was out there, comparing the two. I go back to Sun Tzu from the Art of War. Know thy enemy, know thyself, and in 100 battles you will be victorious. So I applied that principle to looking at the Pacific Crest Trail, and specifically into my resupply strategy. And I went from going from no boxes to I'm actually doing 30 boxes. And I think that's going to work for me for a variety of reasons. There's really no argument about whether you save money. Just from what I bought and the variety I bought and the bulk I bought for all of my goods, just what I saved from the regular grocery store, every one of my resupply boxes pays for itself. I've done the math. There's no question there. There's no argument that they're going to pay for themselves. And that's not the tourist price that most of us will pay on the trail in the little small towns we'll visit. That's the regular grocery price. I know what I saved over that is going to pay for the boxes, so I'm not worried about that. But based on myself and what I know and my expectations and my requirements, I think putting those resupply boxes in, for me, for what I do, it increases my efficiency and it increases my flexibility. And I know that latter part there might be counterintuitive to some people, saying, really, flexibility? No, it does. And I'll explain that as we go through on the subsequent videos and I talk about the resupply. And lastly, I did a lot of training for getting ready. I'm on a training hike right now. I'm on the leeward side of this small slope here in the foothills. About 30 miles from me is Donner Pass. There's a storm coming in right now, and so I'm trying to stay out of the wind right now. But I'm on a training hike right now. But this is my first through hike, but this is not my first athletic event in my adult life. And so I knew how to train for other ones, and I applied that experience as that training to getting ready for the Pacific Crest Trail. And I knew 7 months out from the time I make the decision that, hey, I'm going to do the PCT to the day I'm going to be on the trail. That was 7 months. And that's what I had to work with. And I started, my training base was 25 miles a week running, 3 times a week going to the gym doing upper body work. So that's what I started with. And then I built upon that, incorporating road marches, ruck marches with a heavy rucksack. Started with a 30-pound rucksack, moved up to a 42-pound rucksack, and no, I don't ever want to have 42 pounds in my ruck while I'm hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. But again, that was for training purposes. I was wanting to build up my muscle strength, my muscle endurance. I wanted to build up the strength of my tendons and my ligaments. I wanted to promote bone density. I was looking at that, so I incorporated in my running program, in my weightlifting program, I incorporated ruck marches, and I ever so increased those until I'm at the point now, I'm 2 months out from getting on the trail, and now I'm backing away from my running, and I'm actually increasing almost daily now doing the ruck marches. I started off with an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Now I'm at the 6 hours a day go. And this isn't just a, walk around the park sort of thing. This is put on the ruck and 3 miles an hour, put miles on the legs. It's designed to build up the strength, build up the endurance. So that's what I've been working on, because I know as I've gotten older that it takes me longer to ramp up and get ready for a training event than it did when I was in my 20s and 30s. And I know that during that ramp up period, I am more prone to injury than I was in my 20s and 30s. And that if I were to get injured during that ramp up period, that it takes me longer to heal. So I didn't want to experience any of that starting off on Campo. I slowly incorporated what I needed to do over a 7-month period, and I think I will have greatly narrowed the gap between my true trail legs, which I'll finish the trail with, and what I start off with as my trail legs in Campo. I think I've really narrowed that gap to where I will feel comfortable on the trail from day one, and that's my intent and what I was trying to do. So that's my intro. Like I said, the next video that I'll be putting out, I will be starting off. It'll be the first week of April. You'll be able to look for it then. I will be on the trail. And you can subscribe here on the Trek to continue watching the videos. You can go to my Instagram or my Facebook, where I will post things more often than a weekly basis. You can subscribe to those as well. Again, for the Trek, it's Old Man and the PCT 2020. On the Facebook page, it's Old Man and the PCT 2020. And for the Instagram, it's Old Man and the PCT. I'm looking forward to the hike. This is going to be a fantastic experience. And if you want to follow along, I welcome you on the journey. It'll be great.